Picture the scene. You're meeting up with your friends, you haven't seen them in a while, and somebody texts you a local bar. You and all your friends show up to this bar, you all crowd around a table, you're ready to chat, the bar is busy, but it's not so busy that you think you can hear the conversation. It's going to be a great opportunity for a catch-up. And then suddenly, in the corner of the room, there's this scruffy looking guy in his mid-40s who's setting up a booth with like a paper and pen, and all the screens all over the bar that usually are playing like 80s music videos flash up with the words karaoke night. And you just think to yourself, what do I sing? What's up, singers? My name is Aoife and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a professional singer based in Los Angeles, though I'm originally from Ireland, and this is my first video. I'm here to give you guys some advice for whenever you find yourself at a karaoke bar and you're just not sure what to sing. So for some ground rules, this video is for people who potentially don't sing that well. I believe that everybody can sing with some work, but let's assume that you haven't sang all that much in your life. This is not meant to be an official guide. I would love to do an ultimate guide where I really go deep into genres and assess your singing ability, but this is just some quick tips for whenever you're really stumped. So with all that said, that brings us to tip number one. Tip number one is using whatever music platform you tend to use, Spotify or YouTube. Have a playlist of songs that you know really well that you would love to bring in for karaoke. So that way, if you're ever caught in a bar, if you're ever caught suddenly for karaoke night, you don't need to sit and Google things. You have a list of 4 or 5 or more songs that are within your range or that you feel comfortable with. So tip number 2 is, on that list, you want to make sure you have a couple different songs for the environment that you're going to be singing in, okay? If you're at a local college bar, you're going to be skewing towards probably a younger age demographic, and that's where top 40 hits or really well-known bangers or modern music is going to be preferred. I have done karaoke at my local bar where my parents live up in Santa Cruz, and it's a little bit of an older crowd. You know, I tend to be the youngest person there whenever I'm singing, and that's a different type of song. I've sang Dolly Parton over there, so it's a different vibe. If it's a country bar, again, you're gonna sing maybe some country music, so it's all environment dependent. Okay, the third tip is the most obvious. Don't sing something that's wildly out of your range. Don't sing anything that's like a Whitney Houston, something that involves belting or a really high voice. Don't sing something really melodically challenging where you don't feel super comfortable. And that brings me to tip number 4, which is sing a song you know. Obviously. That sounds really obvious whenever I say it out loud. Of course that sounds obvious, like yeah, sing a song you know, but what I mean by sing a song you know is really look at the verses and the bridge of a song. There are tons of songs that I know that you feel like everybody knows, but then when you hear the bridge, imagine, I want you to picture yourself on that stage right now when you're singing your song. You've sang the verse, you've sang the chorus, and then it gets to the bridge, and you see these words flash up, and it's like, oh baby or something, and you have no idea what the melody is. You gotta know it, okay? Sing a song that you know for a fact you can sing from start to finish. Before you sing it, before you put your name up there, maybe Google it and just read the lyrics of the bridge. I can't tell you guys how often this happens to me. I mean, there's tons of songs out there that I know, I obviously have heard them, but then when I read the lyrics, I'm there going, huh? I don't remember that bit. Like, I'm just looking at Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie. Obviously, I know the chorus goes, what a feeling, yeah, we're dancing on the ceiling, duh. But when I read the lyrics, everybody starts to lose control when the music is right. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how that sounds without listening to it, which I will do off camera. But I'm telling you, read through the lyrics, read through the bridge, just make sure you know just by looking at the words what the melody is. Just have it in your head. Tip number 5. Okay, this is going to be a tip that you hear a lot, is sing something within your range. Whenever you're at a karaoke bar, it's going to be playing in the original key. So even if we could adjust that, if you were working with a teacher, we can adjust that to whatever key you would like that really fits your beautiful voice. But most of the time, if you're a female singer and you're going to sing a men's song, it's going to be in that key, and it could go pretty low, and vice versa. It might sit somewhere in your range that doesn't feel good. So before you go to that karaoke night, sing it along with the original singer and nail it. Tip number 6 is perform, okay? So we all have that friend who is like really hilarious, and they might not be very talented, but they can always get a room going being funny and being silly, and bring that out whenever you're performing. If you're singing with a mic, give the microphone to strangers. I've done that in a bar when my voice hasn't been feeling great. I'll walk around and just hand the microphone to strangers. I sang, oh my goodness, it was The Power of Love. You have to be wary of this one whenever there's long instrumental sections. So when I was singing The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News, there's a really, really long instrumental section. And so I walked around the bar with the microphone going, "Do you feel it?" And just had people go, "Yeah, I feel it," or whatever they wanted. And that really brought the energy up in the bar. So try to get some audience interactions, some dance moves. You can always start with a pose, something like that that just lets people know that you feel at ease whenever you're on the stage. Okay, here's the next tip. This is tip number 7. This is the one that inspired this whole video, and that is keep your culture of origin in mind. I hope I phrased that correctly. There is a real opportunity, and I'm from Ireland, so I make use of this all the time. I can sing songs that are maybe a little bit more obscure in the United States, but people love them in Ireland or in the UK or in Europe. You can take these songs and then you might find members of the audience who know it and they love it and they're like, "Oh my god, I haven't heard this song in years." But if you speak a different language, pick a pop song from your country of origin. Pick the biggest one. So I'm thinking, like, if you're Spanish, I said, hey, hey. That's not a particularly difficult song, but it would get people going. And there's also a dance that goes with that. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like it's a whole thing. So I can't think of any other examples from other cultures, but that's a great one. If you can think of something that you grew up listening to, throw that in there. You know, it's definitely different. Tip number 8, and this is a great get out of jail free card. If all is lost, do a group number. I'm telling you, do a group number. Grab your friends. I'm sure you came to the bar with somebody. If not, grab a stranger and do a group number. I'm thinking One Direction. I'm thinking the Jonas Brothers. With this one, because you have the ability to be a little bit sillier, the range problem gets thrown out the door. A load of guys on a bachelorette trip can get away with singing the Spice Girls or Girls Aloud, or I can't think of any female girl groups from this era, the Fifth Harmony, I don't know. Something like that. It allows you to be a little bit sillier and no one's going to really care about the specific talent of each member. Or you can sing a duet. I'm thinking Islands in the Stream by Dolly Parton. Something like that that really gets people going. And that's it. That was just 8 tips that will help you just in a little bit of a tiz. But I have a ton of more helpful and specific advice, and I would love to do an ultimate guide at some point where I can really assess what to do if you have a specific type of range, what to do if you like a specific genre. I have a ton more tips. These are just 8 quick ones that you can keep in mind whenever you're picking your piece. And before we finish, we're going to do a couple don'ts. Some big don'ts for me when I'm picking a karaoke song are: don't do something too long. Do not do Bohemian Rhapsody. I think I've heard Bohemian Rhapsody enough in my whole life. I think I'm good on Bohemian Rhapsody. And that's not to say that Bohemian Rhapsody can't be done well. It can totally be done well. I've heard it where it's been surprisingly done well. It's just exhausting. I think I hear it at every single karaoke night and I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't need Bohemian Rhapsody. Don't go with something too long. Don't go with something, you'll have that awkward moment where there's too long of an instrumental break. Honestly, if you're formulating your list and you can find some 2-minute pieces, if you're not a great singer, a quick 2-minute song that's over and done with really quickly is going to make you much more comfortable. That brings to my next don't, which is don't pick something too popular. Don't pick something that's in every single karaoke bar. You're going to be much more memorable and much more interesting if you pick something that's not really well known. A good example of this is Human Nature by Michael Jackson. Not to say that it's an obscure song, but it's not Thriller, it's not some of his biggest hits. It's a little bit less known, and so it doesn't come up in karaoke bars as much. So if you can find like a Whitney Houston sleeper hit that's not necessarily I want to dance with somebody, go with something like that. Go with maybe like a weird album cut that interests people. If you really like it, that's another great option. And my final don't is don't pick a sad song. We didn't come to the karaoke bar to hear sad songs. I find that this is a real problem with men in their like mid to late 20s. They will go up and they will sing Nickelback. They will do Nirvana, or they will do who sings Interstate Love Song? Stone Temple Pilots. Like, it tends to be like really sad and and boring, and it would be much more interesting if you got up there and sang a really lively, fun song, whether people know it or they don't know it, and it'll help with your performance. You'll feel happier, you'll feel more comfortable, and I'm just saying, don't pick a sad song. Not sad, not long, and preferably not well known. Those are my big don'ts. Alright guys, that's all that I have for today. This is just a quick guide. Again, I have a ton more advice, so if that's something that interests you, please drop me a comment, let me know. I would love to do a longer version of this where I give some more specific suggestions for you guys, but this was just a quick little video to throw up there. This is my first video on YouTube, so it means a lot to me if you subscribe and like and help me with my channel. I'm going to be putting up a lot more videos in the very near future. And I'm also a singing teacher, so if you're looking for voice lessons online, drop me a message. All my contact information is underneath right here, I think, somewhere around there. I love working with newbie singers. They're my favorite because just the ability to skyrocket so quickly is amazing. I mean, it's great working with more advanced singers and helping them improve, but beginners are my favorite to work with. It's so much more interesting exploration. It's a lot less nitpicky. We get to go over big concepts that will help you improve as a singer. See you next time for another singing video. Ta-ra!